Welcome to the Next Level Mamas podcast. I'm here to help encourage and empower you to create a life you love as you head toward your own next level. Let's go. Hey guys, welcome back to the Next Level Mamas podcast. It is episode number 5, and we are going to continue going on with our topic of goals because I am currently in the process of setting up some new goals for my new year. Now, I'm just going to share the process that I go through because it is very beneficial and it's worked for me for years. Now, I want to make some goals and commitments in different areas of life. I don't want to make them like all fitness related because to me that's just one area in the grand scheme of life, and actually it's one of my most fun ones because it does challenge me and I know I can be successful in it. That is why I need to look at other areas. Now, I have suggestions for other areas to look for to find new goals, but you might have some other suggestions for me. So definitely leave me a comment or shoot me a message and let me know what your suggestions are because I'm always open for new exciting things in the area of goals. Now, the areas I work from are physical fitness is one, and it could actually have a separate area of health if you have something in particular that you're working on improving from a medical standpoint. I feel like that's a different kind of challenge that it offers, and it's usually could be just a category all by itself. Others that I do are I have my coaching business that I have goals for. I have the area of spiritual for me, relational for relationships, creativity, my home and just the space around me, what I want to do with that. Educational because I always love to keep on learning. And then habits are a whole category all their own because there's always ways to improve habits, and habits are what get us to all of our other goals. That's why I believe it's very important to track them and figure out ones that you want to get rid of and figure out ones that will help you, assist you in areas of growth. Now, you may have other areas that are personal to you, so definitely let us know because that might open up some new goals that we all need to set. Now, I take each of the areas and I break them down just as needed. I'm going to give some examples out of physical fitness, creativity, and probably relationships. I'll give you some examples of how I'm going to set those up or how I have in the past. In the physical fitness, I will include my goals. Now, I look at the future. How do I want to show up on December 31st of next year? That's a question to ask on all of your goals. Now, for the fitness one, do I want to add more muscle? And could I actually measure that? Do I want a certain number of pounds of muscle or just a certain look in physique? Do I want a leaner look, a more muscular look, or do I want to just build endurance in some area? Now, I'm going to throw out an example. I do not want to run a marathon, but a marathon's a great example because a lot of people think, oh, I want to run a marathon. It's a great one. It's easy to break down. And if you see the breakdown of how someone can get to a marathon, you can kind of formulate that into, like, put that onto all your other goals. And you'll kind of see what I'm talking about in a minute. First of all, you'll want a goal deadline. Like, I want to run a marathon in the next year. You want kind of a deadline. Do I want to do it by December 31st? Like, could I run a marathon in December? Probably not. Do I have a particular marathon in mind? You don't even have to have that goal, particular marathon in mind just to get started running. To get started running, you just put your shoes on and you get started running. That's how you start running. But a good thing to do is to find maybe a plan. A lot of people have plans out there where you can say, you've heard the Couch to 5K. Well, they have ones that are like how to run a marathon and how you would actually build up week over week. That takes, to me, anybody that puts that online is a professional in that area in my book. So I go to a professional for everything. So I would go to that professional person who's done it before. They know what they're doing. This is how they trained. And I will look at that and see how I can apply that to my life. Just kind of use it as a loose outline. Like I said, you don't have to have an event in mind to get started, but you can just start with a decision to be made. So you can say, I'm starting even in December. You could start tomorrow toward this goal. But if you are one of those people that want to wait till January 1st, then that is your decision. You can start January 1st. I'm going to start running this running plan, but then I can have in my mind, okay, by February 28th, I want to know where I'm at and actually set up, maybe have a decision made on February 28th of what race I want to do. Then I can plan out what I need to do in January and February to get me headed in that direction. Do I want to run, what is my time commitment? You always have to factor in your time commitment for all of your goals. Also, do I want to run 3 days a week? Do I want to do different speeds and different lengths of run? What will that look like? If I have a plan formulated by someone else, how can I tweak that to really work in my life? Now, decide in advance what you want to do in January, but you could also, like I said, start tomorrow. Now, if you have a routine that already works, how can you up that to the next level? What else could you do? Some people run a marathon every month. Some people run a marathon on all 7 continents. There is so much that you can do, but usually you just got to start out with your first marathon. If that's where you are, this is kind of how you get started. Now, if I want to, in another area, if I want to add on muscle, then I would look at where I'm at and kind of what I want to look like or how much muscle I want to put on. Then I can commit to my workouts. I can let my professional trainer know, these are my goals. How can you help me get there? I can adjust my food plan accordingly to put on that muscle. Always seek expert advice. It's everywhere all around you. Some of it's free, some of it costs, but it's everywhere. Don't try to start from the ground up. Start with what someone else has already built and go off of that and save yourself lots of time. I do my research about this and then I can know exactly kind of what I would need my food to look like in January or even to start tomorrow if I wanted to. Now, for a particular skill set in the area of fitness, I'm just trying to give you some different ideas. So you have a marathon run, you have how you want to look physically, then you might have a particular skill set that you want. Maybe you want to master a 3-point shot in basketball, 100 in a row or something. It could be anything. Just make it fun, make it exciting for you that you'll want to actually work on it. A particular skill set, one I've done before is I want to be able to do 50 push-ups in a row, off my knees, like boy push-ups they might call them. Then I've done that before and that was great. But how did I build up to that? I made myself a chart. January 1st through 7th, I'm going to do 3 push-ups every day. Started there, and then the next week I could do 5, and then the next month I could do 10. And you see how you just kind of set up a little goal chart and figure out how you're going to get from 0, or maybe I might have started at 3, how you get from 3 to 50, and you start working toward there over time. I've done that before. It was an amazing challenge. I highly recommend it. Another one I've done, and one you might want to do, is maybe you want to do pull-ups. What if you want to be able to do 10 pull-ups unassisted? Sounds like a great dream, but how do you turn the dream into your reality? You get in the gym and you start doing pull-ups. You seek your professional trainer to see what kind of muscles do I need to build to facilitate this goal of mine, and work in some sort of a systematic program to where you can get there. There's lots of help for that out there online, everywhere around you. Once you start looking for help, you notice that it's everywhere. You just want to be, there's just so much to say about physically pushing yourself and your body and challenging yourself, because when you realize that you can do those hard things, then it's wow, I could do anything. What else do I want to do? Kind of keeps it fresh all the time with your working out and your fitness, if you can keep changing it up and keep going for really hard, crazy, fun things. Now, that's just the area of physical fitness. I have not finished making all of my goals yet, but they're in the formulation process as we're going through here. Now, another area that I love is creativity. You might be like, what do you mean by that? I think we're all creative, and happiness is right in the middle of when we're doing things that are creative. For you, it might be writing music. Someone else, it might be painting. For me, creative things, I love crafting of all sorts. I love scrapbooking. I love playing the piano. Those are my major creative outlets. Now, I could pick up a goal that's completely new. I know I still need to work on figuring the crocheting thing out. My mother's going to have to give me like the 100th lesson to start fresh and figure that one out. So that might be a good goal there. I pick out a goal, and sometimes I've even done like one each month. Like my scrapbook, I could catch up on my scrapbook from last year. Maybe I might set that for January and February. I focus in on that. And then in March, it could be I create fun birthday cards, or it could be Christmas cards. It could be whatever. Create all the birthday cards for the whole year in the month of March. Just an example. Or I could start making diamond paintings for presents also for Christmas. I could start that. I could have that be one a month from April till December. Like, you get to create whatever you want on this goal. Therefore, we're opening up our mind and thinking, what is possible? How could I make this work? And it is kind of fun to do a different craft every month. You could invite a friend. You could have a crafting club where you do a different craft each month. You make bracelets or some sort of jewelry, or you work on your photo album together. You could make it as much fun as you want to. And once you decide, if I decide, okay, I'm going to make my scrapbook for 2022, I'm going to start that and complete it by the end of February. How would I break that down and get there? The first step would be setting aside that time on my calendar to actually work on it. Then I could find a friend to do it with me, but I probably will focus better. Knowing me, I'll focus better if I'm all on my own and just do it for like an hour here or there. Then I would have to get all the photos in the one place that I want to do it. If I'm doing it digitally, I need to get it all on that one website where I'm going to create it. That is quite a task right there. Or I might, if you're doing a physical scrapbook, you might have to say, okay, these are the pictures I want to do. These are the ones I'm going to develop. Get them all developed and ready to go. Buy all the supplies, like get all your ducks in a row for your start time. January, if that's too much, January may not be your start time for that. You may want to do all that prep time in January, February, and actually start it in March. You just have to get it all out of your head and onto paper so you can see what exactly is this going to entail. What's my time that I have to work on it, and how can I make it happen? That is just a crafting goal idea. I could have one. I love to play the piano. Now, I can decide that I want to at least play the piano 3 times a week for 10 minutes, just to keep up the skills that I already have, and maybe I could challenge myself to learn a new song once a month. Like, the options are endless. For me, I've considered, do I want to take a more advanced class just online? They've got some worship piano classes online where I could go a little deeper in my piano playing. That's one thing that I am questioning and thinking about, but it's all individualized for yourself and what you want, and you can change it at any moment. So no decision is just permanent. You can make a loose decision on something you want to just get started. Now, last but not least, I'm going to talk about the area of relationships, because this is always a focus. We are all in relationships with people around us, either good or bad. Now, doing some thinking and journaling about all your relationships. This could be your spouse, your friend group, your children, coworkers, whatever it could be, your relationship with your mailman. Like, how do you want to have a better relationship where you get your mail actually delivered to the right mailbox? If they know you, it might help. That might be something that you could foster by putting some snacks in the mailbox or greeting them at the mailbox. And really, it is a relationship that some people might feel like they need improvement on. I've heard a lot of people having trouble getting their mail. It doesn't happen to us very often, but I have a really good relationship with my UPS and my FedEx because I leave them snacks on the porch, and there's a little ice chest. They can get snacks anytime. I think that our relationship is pretty good. Now, look at your relationships and look at where you're desiring to make just a little more connection or growth. Write about it, and then you can start, like, what will it take to get where I want it to be? What are some things that I could do? What do you want them to look like at the end of the year? That's the main question you want to ask with all your goals. What do I want that to look like? What do I want to look like? How do I want to show up on December 31st at the end of the year? Now, if you have a group that you hang out with, maybe you have monthly coffee with your group and you want to just keep that up. I'm going to recommit to my annual monthly coffee. How many months will I attend or host? Because I'm not going for perfection. I know that there might come a time when I can't make it because of something else. So I'm not going for perfection, but I'm going for what does success look like in this area for me. I also might look at how can I combine some of my groups. Can I do, like I said, creativity, a crafting thing with my friends once a month? So I'm spending time with friends. That's how you foster a relationship, is actually time with the other person. And it's also time spent thinking about the other person, because our relationships are really just our thoughts about the other person. That's why one person can change the relationship. It's your thoughts about the other person. How can you have better thoughts about them? How can you maybe pray about them as you're thinking about them? You can send an encouraging text message, and just ask yourself what you would like to do or feel that would build that connection, because there are lots of options of how you can remind yourself to call them or text them, reach out to them. And then you just get started. You add on or you eliminate things that don't work. You add on, you tweak it over time as you go. The moral of all this story is basically you just don't have to start with a very detailed plan of every day of your year. You don't have to know what you're doing on March 30th in your relationship fostering goal. Like, you don't have to know that far. You just really have to have the vision of what your goal success will look like, and then ask yourself what you think would be helpful or necessary, and then you just get started. You just start somewhere. Then at the end of each week, you can evaluate how you're doing in each area toward the goals that you set. Maybe Sunday night or Monday morning or Saturday before, you think, what am I doing this week that's taking me toward all these goals, the ones that you're really focusing in on? Where am I doing those workouts? When am I doing those runs? How many times am I going to play my piano? Who am I going to send a text message to? Write it all out. And then at the end of the week, you can grade yourself. You can evaluate yourself. Right now, I've been doing, it's a grade school grading system. And I will grade, like, how did I do in my relationships this week? How did I do with my business this week? How did I do keeping my house clean, or whatever my goal is for my home? How did I do? And there are weeks that I am straight up failing. Like, my grades have to give myself are like D-, or maybe even a straight up F. There are times that I'm like, I did not do good. But realizing that I didn't do good at the end of a week is way better than at the end of a month, that I've wasted a whole month. Because at the end of the week, I can decide, okay, I was not good. I made a B here, a C-, a D. What am I going to do next week to bring my grades up? And oftentimes when I know that, I can dial it in, and the next week I've got all A's, some A pluses, because I really realized, like, wow, there were things that I could have done different, and this is how I want to do next week. And there are sometimes when I'm like, you know what, I made all F's, but considering what was going on in life, it's okay. It's no big deal, because I have next week. You can complete your goals early, or you can decide what's next. Like if I get to that marathon goal and I think, oh my goodness, I did that by March, maybe I could do 2 more marathons this year. Like you always complete your goal, celebrate it, and then think, well, what's next in that area? Or I completed that area, now I'm focusing on the next area. It's really so individualized that your imagination is the only thing that will limit you in coming up with your goals and stretching yourself and going for it. This week, I'm committing to going through my goal plans in order to have myself set up with some new exciting things that I want to aim toward. It keeps me out of my comfort zone and it stretches me to new growth. And that's how I'm going to get to my own next level. Now, I'm going to have this weekly podcast PDF on my website with some journal prompts and questions to just get you to think about the different areas of your life, and you can decide what you would like to do in each area. And the point is to just get started. Set yourself up for the start. It is that simple. Do not make this hard. All right. Thanks for listening in, and I hope you find this inspiring to go to your own next level. See you next week. Bye. Thank you for listening to this episode of Next Level Mamas, where we are out to win the level we are in and move into our own next level. For more information on coaching with me, please visit nextlevelmamas.com/create your life. See you next week.